So, Madison, tell me about when God placed you on the earth. What type of situation did He place you in? What was your family life like? All of that.
All right. So I am from born and raised in Sacramento, California.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Born in a family of both parents.
Mm-hmm.
They were divorced
Mm-hmm.
ever since I could remember.
Okay.
And then from there, grew up with my mom. I was mainly with my mom.
Mm-hmm.
And then saw my dad here and there every other weekend. And have an older sister as well. We're 2 years apart. And had a single mom for most of my life.
Mm-hmm.
Dad was involved, um, but saw him, like I said, every other weekend or so.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
And did you know who Jesus was from your earliest memory? Okay.
Nope, I was not raised in a um, faith-based family. Like
Okay. At all.
going to church, never went into church, never really talked about the Lord. Never even um, really heard about him a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I did have a grandmother, my grandmother on my dad's side,
Mm-hmm.
actually was more involved with the Lord.
Mm-hmm.
So I would hear little things here and there, but never understood it.
Mm-hmm.
Just because of being a child,
Mm-hmm.
not understanding.
Mm-hmm.
So, but never prayed. Didn't even know how to pray.
Mm-hmm.
And
Do you remember what your concept of God or being created was, or
I think
anything?
the only thing that I really thought who God was
Mm-hmm.
is like a big guy in the sky
Mm-hmm.
that is kind of oversees us,
Uh-huh.
but
Yeah.
never really thought further into anything else.
Okay. Okay. So, do you want to tell any more about what life was like before he became more than an idea?
Yeah. So
Yeah.
growing up in a household of with a single mom
Mm-hmm.
And divorced parents, that was hard as it was. Just because I don't really remember them being together ever.
Okay.
So I just only knew, go to mom's house, go to dad's house, spend the time.
Mm-hmm.
And then, me and my sister for a period of time as well, were separated for a bit. So we would just switch, like my sister would go to my
Okay.
mom's, I would go to my dad's, and then,
Okay.
So, and then over the time we were, like I said, I was mainly with my mom. She had custody of us.
Mm-hmm.
And growing up with a single mom, the struggles of that life as well, of the hardships that just come naturally with that life.
Mm-hmm.
And my dad, he did his share of like child support and stuff, but
Mm-hmm.
still just like the father presence in the house was not very strong.
Mm-hmm.
So that was difficult at times, and a lot of girl energy, I would say, with just my sister and my mom. So
Right.
it was different,
Mm-hmm.
but for the most part, we were pretty close
Mm-hmm.
and just stuck together and watched mom just burrow through and just to really show up for her two daughters in such a way. And that's now giving me so much encouragement as well. It's like, you got it, and
Yeah.
especially the Lord. Watching that now,
Going
See,
back and looking
yeah,
at how he
like
took care of
hindsight.
you. Yeah.
looking back and just being like, wow, the Lord had my mom, even though I didn't understand,
Mm-hmm.
the Lord had my mom and us two girls,
Mm-hmm.
and just provided all of it. So yeah, other than that, I moved a lot
Okay.
because my mom also
Within Sacramento?
yeah, and then we moved up to Placerville for a little bit as well,
Mm-hmm.
for like 4 or 5 years, but also moving a little bit up there.
Mm-hmm.
And then moved back down to Sacramento,
Mm-hmm.
moved to Stockton for a bit. So I kind of been around a lot, but
Mhm.
mainly it has been in Sacramento.
Okay.
I had some health struggles
Mhm.
going on where at the age of 15, I was diagnosed with end stage kidney failure.
Oh no.
and was told on my spring break week on Monday, I went into the doctor's to have a sports physical. They pretty much told me that um, I was going to need labs because I inquired about the labs,
Mhm.
and they were like, we don't usually do that, you know.
Mhm.
And then I wound up talking about that I would get really bad Charlie horses in
Mhm.
my legs, and so the doctor was like, oh, okay, we'll take blood.
Mhm.
And then from there, the next day they called and pretty much said we need an emergency ultrasound on Madison because we think something's going wrong with her kidneys
Mhm.
because the creatinine level was very high.
Okay.
So I came in, and sure enough, all I knew as they were doing the ultrasound on me
Mhm.
was I saw a bunch of black dots everywhere.
Mhm.
And I
Was
was
it an X-ray?
so an ultrasound
An
was just
ultrasound. Sorry.
on my
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
So they were doing the ultrasound, and then all I saw was just a bunch of those black dots. And I was like, what is that? But to me, at 15 and a half, I was literally like, are those holes? Like, what's going on?
Right.
So I didn't really know, but
Right.
I wasn't scared or anything. I just was like, what?
Mhm.
So after that, we went up into her office after the ultrasound, and she had let me know that the next day I actually needed to go meet with a nephrologist, which is a kidney doctor specialist
Okay.
in Oakland. And so,
And
that-
this is when you're living in San Francisco.
I'm
Or
not
I mean in
or
Sacramento. Sorry.
Yeah.
Came out wrong. So just for reference, that's like Oakland is a good hour away.
Yeah.
An hour and a half.
Yeah.
So in other words, it warranted that much travel time. I just want to
Yeah.
elaborate. Yes.
Yeah. So then the next morning, it was a Wednesday, and my dad, my mom, and me and my older sister got in the car and drove to Oakland to meet this specialist.
Mhm.
We go inside, and pretty much we all take a seat, and she pretty much tells me, yeah, so you're going to need a kidney transplant because your kidneys are working at 8%.
Oh, both of them.
Yes. And actually, the interesting thing was, too, is that I was born with 3 kidneys and 3 ureters.
Wait, what? You were born. Did you know you were born with 3 kidneys before
I had
this
no
time?
idea.
Okay.
So
Okay.
sitting on this appointment was the first time I'm hearing this.
Right.
Uh,
You don't normally have ultrasounds on your
right.
insides. And
No, especially when you think, oh, I'm good.
You're-
Like I
you're a
feel
kid.
fine, you
Yeah.
know? Yeah.
So you had 3 kidneys, and then you said something else, and also
3 ureters, which are the little tubes that connect the kidney to the bladder,
okay,
and that is how the urine goes down.
okay. Do we normally just have 2, like
Yeah,
one
so usually it's
kidney?
just 2 kidneys, on either side of your body.
Okay.
Like kind of in the rib cage area.
Okay,
And then they have their own ureters, and
Okay.
that goes into the
just
bladder.
checking. I didn't know if there was one ureter for both kidneys or both normally both kidneys. Okay,
Yeah.
gotcha.
So these 3 kidneys also had their own ureter, which was interesting because on the left side, it was 2 kidneys together, and they had their ureters coming out into
Okay.
the bladder and connected into the bladder on their own.
Okay,
And then on the right side, it was 1 kidney the size of a 5-year-old's fist, so it was very small.
okay.
And so,
Like
when-
underdeveloped on one side and then like duplicated on the other.
yeah,
Okay,
yeah, but all working on their own,
okay.
but together.
Mm-hmm.
And so then my nephrologist told me that I was going to need a transplant, and I'm sitting there 15 and a half, like, I've been living my life completely normal. What are you talking about? I feel fine, you know.
Right.
So,
Just Charlie horses in my legs. That's all. Isn't there?
yeah,
Just like a muscle thing. No. yeah.
So from there, I was like, okay, I don't understand this. So I wasn't scared. I didn't feel fear or anything from it, but my mom and my dad kind of understood a little more just because of.
And are you looking at them?
Yeah.
I see there.
So they were like, oh, but we all never went through something like that, so we didn't really understand to the extent of what it truly is
Okay.
to have that
Yeah.
going on. So after that, fast forward, in 2014, I had my first transplant, and I was 16 at the time,
Mm-hmm.
and it was from my mom. She blessed me with a kidney. The Lord made a way, so I'm so grateful for that. So that was my first transplant.
Mhm.
And then I went and I had that for, I think it was a sophomore at that time.
Mhm.
So I had it for about 10 months
Mhm.
and had nothing but complications throughout that whole thing.
Okay.
So,
Can I ask, when it's a transplant, so one of them at least, one of the three at least left. Is that what happened? They took one out and put another.
no, so actually they wound up taking all of the
All
native
three.
kidneys out.
Okay.
They had E. coli in them, and they were also had cysts as well. That's what those black holes
Sure.
that I thought
Right.
were. So they were just cysts. So they were like, yeah, they need to come out.
Okay.
So
And then you got one kidney from your mom.
correct.
Okay.
So yeah. So after that, I was like, okay, I'm good to go, you know. And then after that, there was a bunch of medication issues with the there's immunosuppression drugs that you're on for life after that
Okay.
to suppress your immune system so your body won't fight off and reject the graft.
Yep.
So that unfortunately happened, and I landed in the hospital, was in and out throughout those 10 months,
Okay.
just because I wasn't able to keep the levels in my blood
Mhm.
of the medication that is like the main one that you need for immunosuppression. So
Okay.
then it came to the time where I actually was getting super sick and the kidney was failing. And I had at that point both cellular and antibody rejection. And so the kidney was just like so stressed, so like getting more sick, you know.
Are
And
you living at home still, or are you in the hospital, or?
so I was living at home during that time.
Okay.
Because I was 16.
Okay. No, I meant, were you hospitalized?
Oh,
Yeah.
for the transplant, like when it failed?
Yeah, 10 months afterwards. I imagine there was some transplant hospital time, but yeah, but
So after it, we knew it was sickly and it needed to be removed.
Mhm.
I wound up going in the hospital for that amount of time. I don't remember. It wasn't very long because
Okay.
they were just going to remove it.
Yeah.
And then after, I felt a lot better. But then
So wait, you went without having any kidneys for a bit?
I did.
Oh, I don't even know that's possible. I just don't
I'm
know.
kind of jumping around myself, so I'm
No.
like trying to keep it on track.
Yeah.
So
Mhm.
I got the first transplant, lasted 10 months,
Mhm.
and then went into severe rejection,
Mhm.
a bunch of medication failings, and just not having it in my blood. Had it taken out, it actually abscessed. So it when the surgeon went to take it out, he even said it was literally like liquid, like it wasn't even fully formed anymore
Okay.
in my body. So
Okay.
they took it out, and then of course my body was like, oh, like no
Right.
infection anymore. So
Okay.
I was free to go, but unfortunately at that time too, without any kidneys at that point, because my native kidneys were removed,
Right.
and now the transplant kidney's gone.
Right.
I now am going to be on dialysis.
Okay.
So I made the decision to go on peritoneal dialysis. And that one is just more, so in the abdomen, I was on 12 hours a night for
Oh, wow.
8 years.
Okay. And are you all hooked up at home
Yeah.
during those
so
12 hours?
that one
Like
is
you
the
have the
home one.
machine? Okay.
Yeah. So
Okay.
I would do all of the setup with the, the cassette with the hoses, the bags. There were like 6-liter bags that you had to put on the
You
area.
have a port in your
I did. I
stomach,
had a
or?
port in my
Okay.
abdomen right there, and yep, that was actually on my 18th birthday that I was signing myself to get the surgery of my transplant, or my dialysis.
Your
catheter.
port.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or catheter. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Yeah. So
Yeah.
a lot of medical.
Yep.
Mhm.
Yep. So I was on dialysis for the peritoneal one that I did at home for 8 years.
Okay. So
And that was during the
26.
Yeah.
You were from 18 to 26. And how old are you now?
I'm 28.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. Obviously, with everything that was going on, the duration of time that I was on dialysis, my body was getting tired, and my peritoneum was getting worn out over the time, because it's just the natural process of what happens. So
What is a
peritoneum.
Uh-huh.
So it's in your abdomen, and there's that space between your organs
Okay.
and your inside of your belly.
Sure.
And in that space is the peritoneum, and so pretty much the fluid goes in. The machine pushes it into your body,
Okay.
and the fluid is like a sugar mixture with other things, and the toxins actually go into the fluid, and the fluid holds onto it as it's dwelling. And it was, like I said, 12 hours a night. So I had 4 dwells for 4 hours, and it would just dwell in there, take the toxins out, and then the machine would drain it.
Okay.
And
Thank
then,
you. I have no idea. So
Yeah.
Thank you.
No, it's yeah. A lot of people actually don't know. So yes, and I pray that they never know.
Right.
Yeah. So I was on that during that period of time. I then moved out, and also we met in high school, and then slowly after, when I was 18, I actually moved out with him.
Okay.
And from then on, we were just together doing life. And then his family actually decided to have us over every Monday for doing laundry, because we didn't have a laundry unit inside of our apartments. So we would go over and we would have dinner with them as well. And at the time, they were of a different faith.
Okay.
And so I would just go over and kind of listen to what they were doing, or, I'd read the Bible with them, and then we'd have dinner and just pray. And then that was actually the first time I felt the Holy Spirit come upon me, because we were sitting around in the living room, and we were just deep into prayer. And I remember it was his dad that was actually doing the prayer, and I just felt the Lord really just like the Holy Spirit just came upon me, and I was like, what is that? What is this? So that was the first encounter, feeling that, and it just, of course, just fills you right up, and you're just like, such a peace, but also a joy that came upon me. And I remember feeling mostly as like, you're not alone. You're not alone here. So
Yeah, like what were you thinking of who God is at that point,
Yeah, so at that time I understood a little more about him, just because of in our relationship too. I would ask questions because I was curious here and there about like where his background was and all of that. So I started to begin to understand that there was God, our Father, that is watching over us and protecting us and guiding us through life. But my participation, even in the prayer and stuff, I was too nervous because I'm already a shy person as it is.
Okay.
So I was just reserved, and I was more so listening to everything.
Okay.
Not to talk too much, but just to absorb and to see what their faith was built around, and how the Lord was working in their life, or what they were even praying. Living in this apartment with this relationship that was toxic and just bringing me down in all of the ways. But at the same time, I had this huge health thing on the side that I always had to be aware of and take care of. So showing up at his parents' house, and them being, practicing their faith and believing in the Lord, I started asking questions, but they could just see on me too, the wearing on my spirit, but also too just physically,
Sure.
because it was starting to show on the outside.
Sure.
So
Can I ask a question? So I think if I tracked right, you signed up for your in-home dialysis equipment and treatment when you were 18, and you also moved in with your boyfriend when you were 18? Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
So it was at the actual start of me even starting dialysis treatment. So a very critical and kind of crazy time to be doing all of that as well. So yeah.
Yeah, like that. I mean, it's a lot of steps of independence and responsibility at the same time. Yeah.
Yeah. So now we're at his parents' house, and I kind of knew a little bit, like I said, because I would ask my boyfriend at the time, what is this? And like, how do you do this? And there was many times, even as we were living together, that I would be so scared, because dialysis too, especially the one at home, is much gentler than like going to the in clinic
Mm-hmm.
form of dialysis, which is called oh, am I already forgetting? That's
It's okay.
so crazy, but so good too. It means it's in the past.
Right, right.
um,
Hallelujah.
hemodialysis is the one that you go to in clinic.
Okay.
So um, it's much gentler doing the peritoneal dialysis, but there are some more complications, and you just have to be more aware of what you're doing, like controlling your drinking, the amount of fluid that you're intaking throughout the whole entire day,
Okay.
because it can't all come out because it's just not strong. It's not a strong enough dialysis to take it all out
Okay.
in just one session.
Okay.
So from there, I actually wound up getting another dialysis machine that my clinic wanted to test out. And
Okay.
it was more
Like
so,
new technology.
yeah.
Okay.
So it was more so of like a it would transfer all of the prescription information to the clinic so they knew how much time I was on the dialysis machine,
Okay.
how much it took off of fluid, all of that. So during that time, unfortunately, that machine wasn't draining me very well.
Okay.
After each well, it wasn't removing all of the fluid out.
Okay.
So with that being not working efficiently for me, my body was actually reabsorbing that fluid as on top of what I would be drinking throughout the day. So it wound up building up into my tissues and causing me to be just swollen all over my face, my arms, and my feet were especially. And if I was standing, it would just
Was
they
your
would
skin
swell.
hot? Like cold?
Yes.
Tight?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. So that started happening, and I'm just like, oh, this
Compression socks? I don't know.
I know, right? And I wish I would have known about it, or somebody would have said something about it. But at that time, I didn't even know.
You're
So-
18.
I know, right? I'm like, why am I doing this at 18? I have no idea, But it was what it was. So from there, having moments of being super scared of death,
Absolutely.
and the reality of what I was feeling, but not only what I was feeling, what I was seeing and experiencing, my body changing.
Yes.
And there were many moments too where if I laid flat, all that fluid would be like, it would start getting into my lungs. And there were so many times where I felt like I was going to drown, and that was going to be how I was going to pass away.
Yeah.
So that was pretty scary and intense.
Yeah.
And so many nights, I would just ask my boyfriend at the time, like, would you pray for me? Can you like help me? And he'd just be like, yeah, let's pray. And he would pray with me. And that was when I would feel the comfort of the Lord just come upon me and just feel like,
As you did in the family prayer?
yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I was just like, okay, I'm at peace, and so then now we're going into his family, and we're praying, and that time with the Holy Spirit just came upon me, and I was like, oh, like, I'm not alone. Like, even though I'm going through all of this, which is a huge trial, right? And at the time, I didn't even know what trials were.
Right.
And
you
that's
didn't have
what I
that
was
language.
experiencing. Yeah. So I just was like, this is just hard, and it doesn't feel good. And not only that, man, if I even think about talking about the lack of freedom that I felt during that time as well, was just, I felt so restricted. And
You had a bedtime. You had a time you had to lay down and be hooked up.
Yeah, and especially doing 12 hours a night. I mean, there were times too, because we only had one car at that time that we would share. And if I had appointments, I would hook up literally at 4 in the afternoon and go until the morning, in order to be off in time, in order to take my boyfriend to work. So I could take the car and then go to my appointments. So it literally was so restrictive.
That sounds very restrictive.
Yeah. So with that, I was getting frustrated, but also too just being like, it's wearing on me. It's really a heavy thing to be dealing with. And so I remember, and I'll never forget it, his mom at the time, one dinner that we were sitting around the table, and I was just expressing, what I was kind of feeling a little bit, and she could just see it in me that it was just wearing, like too heavy on me.
Mm-hmm.
And she just looked at me and she said, Madison, do you know that the Lord has experienced everything that you feel? And he knows exactly how you're feeling. Do you know that? And I just kind of looked at her, kind of peculiar.
Right.
And from that moment, I was like, oh my goodness, I am so not alone. But not only,
Right now.
yeah, in that moment of what I was walking through, but even down to the smallest details of that, the Lord even feels and knows the pain that I'm experiencing and the emotions that come along with all of that as well. So that just lifted my spirit. And that was the moment too that I, like, okay, like, getting more involved with the Lord, but still not really, like, I didn't go to church still. I wasn't like walking super strong with the Lord. I wasn't reading my Bible or anything like that. So I was just kind of like, knew that there was God, our Father in heaven. And it wasn't until I was in my apartment one evening and my grandma, we were on the phone together. And during this time too, I'm just like on dialysis this whole time. So I was in my apartment alone, and my grandma and I were on video call. And she was like, "Are you in your apartment?" And I was like, "Yeah." So I showed her around my apartment, and then afterwards, I sat on the couch, and she just decided to ask me, "Madison, have you accepted the Lord into your heart?" And I was like, I don't know. I don't even know what that means. Like, I don't know.
Your boyfriend's parents had not, or your boyfriend had not asked
Nope.
that question.
Nope. So I just told her, I was like, I don't even know what that is. And she was like, okay, well, do you want to accept Christ into your heart? And I was like, okay, yeah. I have a little bit that I understand, and I know it's good. So, my grandmother's asking me to do this, and it feels right. So I said, yeah. And she said a prayer with me, and I was like, okay, and then still didn't think anything much about it. I wasn't like, oh, this is nothing crazy changed, or, my life just still looked as it did. But I said the prayer on the phone with her, and then we got off the phone. And I never forgot that little piece though, when later on, things were getting way harder, and my relationship at the time started failing, and more toxicity.
Shortly after the phone call with your grandmother.
Yeah.
Can I ask you a question? I think if I'm listening well, every time I've heard you talk about like praying to God, it's always with somebody, like your grandmother or your boyfriend at the time or his family. Did you have a personal prayer life, like where it was just nobody else is around and you're on the phone with God,
Yeah. So I didn't know how to pray, and I felt kind of embarrassed about it too. Like, what am I just saying words out loud? Like, I'm just talking to myself, even though I just didn't understand prayer.
Okay.
And that it would actually be doing something, even though I had experienced it when I was with people. So I didn't take much thought in praying on my own. There were a couple times that I would, especially if I was like, laying there and just thinking about things. And then it came to me to be like, okay, I need to pray. So there were a few times, but honestly, no, I didn't really have a lot of time with the Lord on my own.
Yeah.
So
I took you out of your story for a minute, but so you had this this phone conversation with your grandma, and you asked him into your heart, and then you're starting to have relationship troubles with your boyfriend.
Yeah. So we had moved a couple times, and now we're in this one apartment, and things were just getting really dark, and it started to feel more and more like I was just isolated. He was more so on his way out before we really knew that, things were coming to an end. And finally it just broke, and we were like, okay, and we kind of came to a mutual agreement on, okay, this is no longer healthy, we need to separate. But by that time, I just was so in my head about so much, and just overwhelmed by my health situation, but also too being in a relationship that was so toxic and draining to me, and having someone that is constantly around you but not really being with you, you know,
You
having
were
time with
lonely
you.
even
Yeah,
when you were with him.
yeah,
Is that
yeah.
what you mean?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
Mm.
Yeah, so I wasn't really being paid attention to in any way, and so we called it quits, and that was actually in 2019,
Mm-hmm.
at the ending of 2019, and then
And sorry, how old were you then? Like you
oh
had
man,
started this
I'm not that
relationship
good
at
at math,
18?
so
You had started the
um,
relationship when you were 18
yeah,
and
so it was
then
a 8 year long relationship.
okay. Okay.
Yeah,
Hmm.
so at the time it 24, maybe 23.
Sure.
So I wind up being like, oh, I don't even know where I'm gonna go. I didn't have a car. Like we only had one car at the
Sure.
time. So I was just, that was when I actually started to pray a lot more. Like, Lord, look at this situation I'm in. I do not have anything. And that even kept me for a while in the relationship, a little bit longer, just because I had nowhere to go.
Right.
I wasn't working because I wasn't able to. I had 12 hours on dialysis and was just so tired all the time.
Right. When you're on dialysis, are you awake?
So on the peritoneal one, you're asleep,
Okay.
which that was like the benefit of being on peritoneal, you know,
Okay.
the
It was less
hindsight of it. Yeah.
intrusive.
Yeah. And it
Mhm.
was gentle on my body, plus, you know, having somewhat freedom during the day, but
Mhm.
in all reality, you do not have energy in that
Mhm.
way to even.
Right. It's not great sleep.
No. Yeah. So, and it can't even get a lot of the toxins out because it's so gentle, you know?
Mhm.
So, yeah, so I was praying about it, and I remember sitting in my room and just praying to the Lord, like, I, I know you provide for us. You see my situation, and I need to get to my appointments. Like, I can't
Oh, right.
not have a means of transportation,
Mhm.
you know, and things are falling apart, you know,
Mhm.
and I'm so sick at this period of time too, just because the stress that I was living under, you know, just trying to hold it all together.
Mhm.
And I was just felt so alone
Mhm.
in that period of time too.
Mhm.
And so I prayed about it, and then there was this time where my dad came to pick me up. I was just going to hang out for the day with them.
Mhm.
And so I had decided to just talk to them, and I was actually going over to spend the day, but I knew that that was the time I was going to have to ask them, like, hey, I need to move in with you guys. This is
Mhm.
what's going on in my life, because they had no idea. You know, I
Yes.
was trying to
Mhm.
protect the relationship so much as well.
Okay.
So I wasn't very vocal about what was happening.
Yeah.
I kind of was just honestly just getting more and more isolated because I just didn't want to speak badly about them or paint them in a bad light, you know?
Mhm.
And so, yeah, so here I am sitting in my dad's car, and he asked my stepmom to pull over. And I haven't even said anything about, you know, oh, I need to
He's
move
picked
in.
you up
Yeah.
and you're on your way
Yeah.
somewhere,
Yeah, to just go back to their house and hang out for the day.
but you haven't got there yet.
No.
And he pulls over.
Yeah.
Okay.
So my stepmom, he's like, "Can you pull over real quick?" So she pulls over, and I'm in the back seat, and then my dad, for whatever reason, right in my head,
Mhm.
turns around to me and he said, "If a car fell from the sky," which actually, even right now, I'm thinking about it deeper. I'm like, "Oh, that's interesting too."
From the sky
From
part.
the Lord,
Yes.
right? Oh. But if if a car fell from the sky, would you take it? And of course, my first response is like, well, if it works correctly, like I want a good working car. Like as long as it works, yes, like I
Mhm.
would take it.
Mhm.
And so at that moment too, I knew what I had to tell them, you
Mhm.
know, which was already heavy enough on me.
Mhm.
But that also, like, I knew it was the Lord that had moved and had put that on my dad's heart to
Mm.
ask me that.
Mhm.
So I was like, what? And of course, I just broke. And I was like,
Oh.
sitting there, not able to talk because it was just so overwhelming
Mhm.
for me to feel that way. So
Mhm.
my dad shockingly, he just looks at me like, "What is going on?" Like, hold on a minute,
Mhm.
And I'm like just crying and crying, and they're just both looking at me like, "Are you okay? What's happening?"
Mhm.
So I wind up just telling them, "You have no idea that I was going to come over today, hang out with you guys, and tell you actually that I need to move in with you because my whole life is being turned upside down. So they both were like, "Oh wow," and listen to me. And then I said, "And the fact that you're asking me if I want a car, I just like, what? Like this is the Lord. And so after that, we just wrapped up the conversation about it. They said, "Yeah, I can move in with them, of course.
Mhm.
And then my dad just told me too. He's like, "Well, there's this car on this lot, and if you want to go look at it, we can go." And I've been looking at it on the internet for like a week. So that was a week prior that the Lord already had like brewing in the background that I had no idea, but I prayed about. Lord, I know you're the provider, and I need a car. I need to get to these appointments. And he already knows before we know, what's coming and how to have a blessing there to catch you. So we go into the dealership and we walk out with the car next.
Wow. Yeah.
And I was so grateful because I thought, oh my goodness, like, Lord, I see you. Like, I see you moving in my life in such a big way. So we walked off the lot with my car, and I was like, oh my goodness, this is just wow, okay. And even in the moment that I was grieving this relationship that I was in the process of breaking away from, and it was a long relationship of 8 years. So it was, it was like I felt like my world was falling apart,
Right.
So I went to their house, spent the day, and I was just like, I have this car now. So I had freedom to go to my appointments and no worries. Well, then the process started up moving. So I wound up moving in with them. And that then was in the beginning, it was in February of 2020 when that all happened.
Oh.
So here I am moving into my dad's, on dialysis still, massive amounts of stress that I just am like, I don't even know what to do because I feel like my life is just turning completely upside down, and just the stress alone, it can be so much. So I move in with my dad and I'm there maybe for like a week, if that. And I all of a sudden have this heart pain that I've never felt before. And of course, I'm like, oh my goodness, this is it. Like, there's no more time for me. And I was like, oh, I'm gonna die. So I was sitting in my room and it was every single time I breathed in, it was like this strong pain in my heart would just like, it was like somebody was just stabbing me. And I thought, oh my goodness, I'm having a heart attack. I'm gonna die. So pretty much I called my dad into my room and he was like, what do you want me to do? And I said, okay, I think we gotta go to the hospital. So go to the hospital and here I am laying there. And my mom actually had come to visit me in the hospital.
Okay.
And I do have to share this one part because this actually leads into what happened next. There was a period of time when my dad came to visit me at my apartment and I was standing in the parking lot of the apartments and he was talking to me for about like an hour or something. And remember how I said that my ankles would swell really bad?
Yeah.
So I was standing and all that pressure
Fluid.
from me standing for that amount of time. For whatever reason, I didn't take note of it then, but I knew that my feet hurt. So I was like, okay, I'm going to go inside. Like, my feet are hurting, said my goodbye, went in the house. And all of a sudden, when I had saw my feet, I saw all of these broken blood vessels broken on my feet, on the tops.
Like capillary.
Yeah. And it was like going up my ankle a little bit too. And I was like, what is that? Like, what happened? I just was outside. So, from that, I didn't really know what it was, but I was like, oh, like, it looks like broken blood vessels. So I kind of didn't question too much, but just kept an eye on it, and thought it'll probably go away. Well, fast forward, they never went away, and they kind of looked worse over time. Like, it was just, the pressure was just too much.
Okay.
And so it kind of got worse, but everything was fine. Like, it wasn't super painful or anything. And even to the touch, I didn't have any pain because it was just underneath.
Mm-hmm.
And so I landed in the hospital with this heart pain. And my mom comes to visit me. And her being so gracious and trying to help me and kind of lift my spirit and help me feel better,
Mm-hmm.
she offers to massage my feet.
Mhm.
So she took lotion
Mhm.
and rubbed it on my feet and was giving me a massage. And so after she did that, it softened my skin
Mm-hmm.
so much so that I started having wounds. Like, the skin was broken down from the broken capillaries
Mm-hmm.
and all of that stress of the fluid and the pressure, that the skin just started slowly just opening up because it was so,
So your skin,
yeah,
and so
started breaking open in certain
Yeah.
areas because it was just so broken down. And when the moisture was there, and I don't know exactly the science behind how it
Sure.
worked, but yeah, the wounds
so
started.
you have like
opening
open
up.
wounds on your feet
Yeah.
and ankles.
Yeah. And here I am in the hospital feeling this pain. And, then that starts happening slowly. But nonetheless, it actually was so painful. And it was just like, one would be open. Like, everything kind of cleared up with the hospital stuff. I got discharged from the hospital and I go back to my dad's.
And this is in February of 2020.
Yeah.
So there weren't so you s- there weren't all the shutdown quite yet.
Quite yet. Yeah.
Okay.
So then, fast forward a little bit, my feet started splitting open more, and the only feeling that I could explain,
Mm-hmm.
what makes sense in my head of how I would describe the feeling of my feet being split open like that, and if I put my feet down below my waist,
Mm-hmm.
and the blood going down to my feet,
Mm-hmm.
it felt like what I would imagine sticking my feet into a hot bucket of melted metal
Oh.
would feel like.
Wow.
So with that feeling, it was just so intense. But I still had to do my stuff, right? And at the time, things were kind of getting a little rocky already. Me just living in my dad's house after feeling just so much stress and everything, it just wasn't working out for me. So I wound up leaving there. Maybe I was there for 2 weeks at that time, maybe 2 weeks and a half or something. And I decided to move to my grandparents' house.
You only lived with your dad for 2.5 weeks?
Yeah.
Okay.
Just because the situation wasn't good for what I was going through at the time. So I moved to my grandparents for a little bit.
And is this the same grandma that you had been on the phone with?
No, so
okay.
that was my dad's mom,
Mm-hmm.
and my mom's mom was the one that I moved in with.
Okay.
So I wound up moving in with her, getting my stuff and everything, and I'm just in turmoil still. Like, I'm just like,
Sure.
my mind is going crazy, and now my feet are split open and they're burning like crazy, but I can't walk because every time I put my feet below my waistline, it just burns, And
So what are you doing? Like, you've got your feet, like you're in a recliner with your feet up in the air?
yeah, but
Okay.
honestly, I was just on the couch. Like, I would just be on the couch and put my
pillows
feet up. Yeah.
underneath?
Yeah.
Okay.
And so pretty much then that was by March that I was with my grandparents.
Mm-hmm.
And so here I am. Then the pandemic hit during that time. And I just remember being like, what is happening? Like, this is just way too much. This is crazy. So I honestly, that was on the back burner for me because I had enough to deal with.
Mhm.
But from there, I was trying to even go visit my mom and, living with my grandparents, they were really concerned about the virus, and
Okay.
didn't want me to go out. Well, in my head, I'm like, I just need to break away. Like, I need to go for a drive or, do something.
Right.
So that kind of was going on. And it got to a point where I just felt like, okay, I can't do this alone. Like, this just is too much for me. And I don't even know how to help my feet.
Mm-hmm.
So that is where the blessing of my mom working in the medical field
Oh, okay.
comes in. So I wound up being like, okay, now I got to move to my mom's. So now, like less than 2 months, right? Here I am just shifting through these
Your dad,
houses,
your
right?
grandma,
And
now
oh,
going
it
to your
was
mom.
so much
Yeah.
of the time. And then trying to deal with the mental stuff of the breakup of 8 years
Right.
was just so much. And then my feet are split open and I'm feeling terrible because I'm still on dialysis as well and doing that.
Mhm.
So I moved to my mom's, and my mom knows all the tricks, and of course she goes crazy because she wants to help me in all the ways. So she starts researching things of how, to naturally heal them, or, how to wrap them and all that stuff. So I actually wound up using like Manuka honey and stuff to heal them.
Mhm.
And the Lord just used what he says. He
Right.
gives us every seed, right?
Right.
And so Manuka honey was the biggest blessing.
Mhm.
And I would just pour that on my feet and put a bunch of gauze and tape. I mean, it was a whole bunch of things that were, in order to heal them.
Mhm.
It was a lot involved.
Mhm.
So here I am in 2020, and that lasted for the whole rest of the year,
Okay.
where I just was,
At your mom's?
and
Mhm.
dealing with my feet, where I just couldn't stand up. I did, but it would burn, and I just was in just so much pain at that point, with physical pain, but also to emotional pain at this time.
Right.
So I was just really at a low, low, low. And with remembering about the Lord and all of that, I was more into prayer at that time, because I was like, this is just too much,
Right.
So I wound up, my mom actually was blessed with a really close group of women
Mhm.
that were believers of the Lord.
Mhm.
And I didn't know much. It had these little pieces that I put together, and well, the Lord put it together.
Right.
And I was learning, but I also didn't know. I didn't know how I would pray all the way of what I thought, I needed to be the perfect prayer, in order for me to pray. So these group of ladies that were just so, so passionate about the Lord.
Mhm.
I got involved with them a little more. And
Mhm.
then there was this one specific woman of God
Mhm.
that just could hear the Lord's voice
Mhm.
in such a way that she would give words.
Mhm.
And so I went going to one of her gatherings,
Mhm.
and I remember, those things that you only know yourself,
Yeah.
and you do not speak about them. You don't.
Yeah.
Nobody knows.
Right.
So I go to this meeting, and this wonderful group of ladies is around, and this woman just starts telling me and giving me a word. She's like, I have a word for you.
Okay.
So she starts talking and telling me, like, the Lord wants you to know that he's taking away the fear of dying. And I had not spoken that
Right.
to anybody,
Right.
because even in the moments of with my boyfriend at the time,
Mhm.
in asking for prayer, I
Mhm.
never specified
That you were
that, because I didn't want to stress anybody else out
Okay.
or make them think that, something was going to happen to me, like
Mhm.
I was going to be taken away,
Mhm.
And so I remember that being so, 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 so important for me to hear in that moment, in that time.
Right.
So I heard
Had
that.
you had words spoken over you before?
I had not in this way, where
Okay.
I knew, I was
Right.
like, this is the Lord,
Mhm.
And then he just was, speaking through this lady that I had just met, and
Yes.
saying those specific things that are
Right.
only for you.
Right.
And I was blown away.
Mhm.
And of course, I am massively, like, just crying in such a way of like, oh my goodness, how is this real? Like,
Mhm.
the Lord knows, he knows, and that's where I was like, oh, now I know that I know, right? So that was the first, like, wild encounter
Mhm.
with the Lord, where it was like, whoa, this is really, like, nobody knew that. And
Mhm.
there was no way I didn't speak about it, And so that really gave me such encouragement during that time too. Of like, um, I would live and I won't die.
Yeah.
You know, the Lord has me, and He's taking the fear of dying away from me. I was just like, oh my goodness, and the peace that I had in that too, of like,
Right.
He has a plan for me. There's
Right.
even with all of this mess around me and all of these emotions
Right.
that I was feeling, fear, anxiety, heaviness.
Mhm.
Of just, I'm just done. I don't know what I'm supposed to do with all of this.
Right.
Um, living at my mom's, my feet are split open, everything's bad. So that was kind of my view on it. But
Mhm.
I got peace in that time, and it
Mhm.
was just the most incredible thing at that time. Honestly, it was
Mhm.
exact. The Lord knows. The
Mhm.
Lord knows.
Mhm.
So my feet finally healed,
Mhm.
and this is now at like around, I don't know, maybe November of 2020 at
Sure.
this point.
Mhm.
And so I'm getting excited, like, okay, like maybe I can start looking into school now, you
Mhm.
know, because I actually always wanted to be a dental hygienist.
Mhm.
But, you know, out of high school and all of that, when I was in high school, was diagnosed with the kidney stuff and
Right.
had so many of those complications and then landed on dialysis. So I didn't have the energy to do it, but I thought, okay, this time, let's see. I'm at a better kind of
Mhm.
healed a little more from the breakup over this year, you
Mhm.
know, and feet are good now. They're
Mhm.
healed up. Praise the Lord,
Mhm.
because it was just an intense experience with all of that. But I then am like, okay, I'll go to school. So I was going to go, and then I didn't really know when I was going to go for like go show up at the school and do all of the stuff.
Mhm.
But I was looking online and just getting like, how does it work? Where do I need to go? Where
Mhm.
programs are available? And then 2021 comes,
Mhm.
and this is January, and I think it was on the 10th of January. And I'll take you back just a little bit. So I'm
Sure.
still on dialysis, the
Mhm.
peritoneal one, and I've now been on it for 8 years
Mhm.
over that course of time. So here I am, and feeling better, but they always told me, you know, you got to be very careful. You're the one that's in total control of hooking yourself up,
Right.
unhooking,
Right.
and you
Is
know.
it still sending the information to the medical team?
So I actually had gotten my old machine back because I
Oh.
fought for it, because I was
Oh,
like, this one's not working
you're not.
for me.
So you stuck with the
Yeah.
gentler one for the majority of the 8 years.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So, yeah, that one that just wasn't working for me, I had to fight for that
Okay.
to get my old one back, because
Okay.
I was like, look, this is not draining.
Right.
Something's going on. So thankfully they gave it back.
Mm-hmm.
So I had that machine. And so fast forward now, 2021, I'm January 10th. And I go actually, because I had to take my car to the mechanics that day.
Mm-hmm.
So my mom and she follows me down. I drop my car off at the mechanics. And I just wanted to have some time with my mom that
Mm-hmm.
morning. So I said, let's go to Denny's. So we go to Denny's. And I remember I was eating like a French dip or something.
Mm-hmm.
And it just wasn't tasting right to me. And I was like, oh, okay, like that's interesting. But it wasn't new to me, because appetite with dialysis anyway, like your body goes through so many changes,
Okay.
just because there's so much going on.
Okay.
And so appetite has always been kind of like a hit or miss with me. So I took note of it, but I also was like, seemed a little more evident to me that like, oh, this really does not taste right. So I didn't even finish it. So I was like, oh no, I can't.
Mm-hmm.
So then we get in the car, leave, go home. And me being as tired as I am all the time, just because of the nature of what I was going through at the time, I laid down, and then for whatever reason, I had woken up and I just felt so sick. And I felt like, oh, I have to go into the bathroom. Like, I need to throw up or something. Like, I just feel like something's wrong.
Right.
So I go in the bathroom and I just start vomiting, like everything I had eaten, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was like, I don't know, you know, this is kind of interesting. But then I felt like something was really wrong. And I just knew. I was like, something is really off. So then became worse, where I actually was having things come out both ends, and just couldn't even had no control over it. And so I eventually
Were you cramping hard?
there wasn't a lot of cramping actually.
Okay.
I mean, the main thing I remember was just like that feeling of just something wasn't quite right.
Yeah.
And so I yelled for my sister to go get my mom, and she got my mom, and they came in, and that's where things kind of get where I don't even remember like what kind of happened. So I just remember, um, I know I was back in the bed, and I was asleep because I was so tired. And then I remember my mom coming in the room, and she was just waking me up, trying to just jostle me a little bit and say, "Hey, Madison." I was like, "You have to get up. I have to clean this," you know. And I just remembered the strength, like all my strength was just stripped away for whatever reason. And I didn't understand it though. I just knew like it was hard to get up. And my mind was like, I just remember I didn't really understand, but I didn't understand that I didn't understand.
Okay.
But I knew it was all of a sudden hard to get up. And so I get up with I mean, it took everything in me to get myself up, which was very interesting on its own. So get in the shower, she cleans me up. But then it wound up happening a couple more times just because my body was actually, something was really wrong. Like I felt, right? So it wound up a couple hours. I have no idea how long it was, but my mom wound up coming in too, and I was trying to tell her, you know, like, yeah, I just don't feel well, you know. So it came to the time where I was experiencing a fever, and I think at that time it was maybe like 103 or something. It was getting up there. And I just all of a sudden just knew, you know, because I don't like going into the hospital, especially with my experience with everything. I had so many hospital visits in and out all the time since my sophomore year.
Sure.
So, and now I'm 24 maybe at that time, right? You know, 25 actually, because I remember I was no longer dependent on my parents for school.
Okay.
So, and my birthday was in that November. So it just turned 25. So that was also too, I was so excited to go to school. I was like, okay, I'm free. But yeah, so I'm 25 now, and then I'm having this sickness that after I just got my feet healed, right?
Right. And he's taken away the fear of death.
Yes. Yeah. So, oh yeah.
But yet something is really critical.
Yeah. So at this point, I am super sick, laying in the bed, and I just, you know, I'm super sick, laying in the bed, and I just, you know, I say it was the Holy Spirit that had to have
Set it
made
free.
me, say that, because I was so unaware of what was going on. But eventually, I just was like, I gotta go to the hospital. My mom's like, "Are you sure?" Because she knew how much I wouldn't.
Right.
I don't want to go into the hospital, but she's like, "Are you sure?" Called the ambulance. They came in, and they pretty much said that like I had a fever of like 105, and they were like, "You're burning up. We gotta take you now." So I wound up going to the hospital, and then I just was going out of it even more, where I don't really remember a lot, but I do remember little bits and pieces of what was going on, but I didn't know. So what was going on at the time was I actually got peritonitis, which is this really serious infection that can actually kill you on its own. Because it's just, even from like a speck of dust getting in the connection, and it going into your peritoneum.
Okay.
When you're hooking up.
Okay.
That's a contamination.
In your port.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so I don't know how it happened, but I was aware that that was a risk with being on peritoneal. So it wound up happening in some way, somehow, and I ended up with this infection called peritonitis. And in my whole abdomen, in the peritoneum, I was just infected. And so that's what caused me to be so sick. Yeah. And so I didn't know that. But landed in the hospital, they were trying to figure everything out, what was going on. And in this time, I'm non-coherent. So I only have the understanding of what I was told from even my mom after.
Right.
That like they only had me on 500 milliliters of fluid a day, which is barely any,
Okay.
because I was on dialysis still, and they didn't want to fluid overload me.
Right.
So, and I was not eating at all. So I remember having a drain, like the feeding tube being in my nose, and it was just draining all of this like really dark black, like acid that was coming out of it and being drained. And that is just one of the things, little snippets that I remember, because it was just burning my throat too. And it was just so painful, but I was in so much pain in my abdomen too, that I, from what I hear, was like just even screaming out because the pain was just so bad.
Right.
And so it turned into sepsis. And as we know too, sepsis actually can kill you on its own. So I had two of these really, really critical infections going on in my body that are on their own can kill you. So them together, it just was wrecking me. So I remember being in the hospital room by myself, and I wasn't aware that I was by myself, but my mom had left. And I was laying there, and I was all drugged up with all this pain medication because it was just brutal, the pain. And I remember specifically laying in the bed, and I just heard a voice speaking to me. And this is an important little fact that was going on as well. For whatever reason, I couldn't see out of my eyes. Because they just were filled with blood, and they were at that time trying to even figure out why that was happening. So I can't see, I can hear, but I don't have full understanding of what's going on or what people are telling me. And even if they told me, I would forget, like really quickly. So here I am laying in the bed, and I hear this voice, and the voice said, "You're gonna be okay, and you're gonna make it out." And I, even in that situation of such vulnerable, like, I didn't know what was going on. I couldn't see, but I wasn't scared. I couldn't see because I didn't understand. I couldn't see.
I got you.
I hear this voice, and I knew it was the Lord.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my goodness. So I actually went into tears. And I don't know how, still to this day, and my mom will even say as well, she has no idea why or how I called her on my phone. Because, you know, it's a touch screen. There's nothing to feel or anything. So I don't know. I called my mom because I felt the feeling of I had to let her know. Like, she had to know that I was going to be okay.
Yes.
And I remember I called her, and I just was crying, and she's like, hello? And really weirded out. She's like, what's going on? So she picks up the phone, and she's like, hello, you know, and I'm just in tears. I'm like, mama, mama, mama. And she's like, what? Like, what? What's going on? And I was just like, the Lord came to me, and he spoke to me, and he told me that everything is going to be okay, and I'm going to make it out. And I just remembered that moment, me telling her, she just went into praising the Lord. And she actually was on her way back home from visiting me. So she's like, praise the Lord, thank you, yes, amen. Like, that's the story. Like, this is not your story. Like, you're gonna be sick and just be in this state, you know, and the doctor's telling me you better come visit your daughter because it doesn't look good, you know. And so my mom was just praising the Lord, and I'm crying, but I don't understand. I'm crying. So it's just, the whole situation was so interesting. But my mom's just like, yes, and amen, you know. And I'm just like, he came to me. And she's like, yeah, I'm so grateful, you know. And so, but that was just even the Lord showing up for my mom in that time, because I couldn't imagine, you know, what she was going through at that time. Just seeing her child, and now in this critical position where the doctors are telling her, you better come because it doesn't look promising. And then to get a call that the Lord told me that I'm going to be okay.
I have a different report.
Yes. And so I know though that was the Lord. And I remember feeling that too. It's like, my mom needs to know. Like, she needs to hear this. So meanwhile, can't see, don't even understand what's going on. So that really shot my faith through the roof of like, wow, the Lord showed up. And as I was lying in that hospital bed, I lost about like 20 pounds And as you can see, I'm already a skinny mini, but so I just was skin and bone at that time, and they had to remove my peritoneal port out because the infection was just way too much, and they're like, no, you can't use this. They placed a hemodialysis CVC port into my chest.
Okay.
And I was started on hemodialysis, which is the in-clinic dialysis. So I was in the hospital. I started to come to more, you know, all the antibiotics and all of that. And then when I got out, I still had so much confusion because it was just so much that I had been through. My body was just under so much distress. And I actually, and it came to the point that I actually didn't even remember how to walk. Like, I came out of the hospital and I couldn't walk on my own. And all I knew in my head was just frustration of, what do you mean I can't walk? Why can't I walk? And I was so frustrated, but
You weren't told that. You just tried to and couldn't.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it was so scary. And I thought, what is happening? Why? What? I don't know. And I remember too, my mom trying to tell me what happened, but I would forget. But I didn't know I was forgetting. So I was just in this frustration of like, I don't even know what's going on.
Right.
So here I am relearning how to walk. And now I'm on this hemodialysis. So I started at this clinic and going 4 days a week for 3 hours each time. And I would go Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday to this clinic weekly. And so at this time, I'm going to this clinic and I'm also relearning how to walk, but I have all this confusion still in my head because sepsis is known for just, you don't remember anything and it takes your body a minute to clear all of that out. And I'm on dialysis, so it's artificially being, you know, the toxins need time to get out. So I'm at this dialysis clinic and it wound up being 2 years after that I was on dialysis for 2 years.
At four times a week?
Yeah, for 3
For
hours.
3 hours.
Yeah. And I would go at 5:30 in the morning and get done, you know, sometime at like 9 or something. And did it for 2 whole years.
Wow.
And through that period of time, that's a much harsher dialysis.
Right.
So after the sepsis thing, I'm like, I'm done. Like, I'm actually exhausted at this point. I am exhausted. And now I'm more involved with the Lord, right? Because I've gotten this word from this woman that the Lord just spoke so purposefully to me. And here I am. And
then you heard his better report while you were in the crisis.
Yes. And I also, too, was doing, like, I was listening to more of YouTube videos with ministers that are just on YouTube. And my mom was listening to them as well. So I wound up asking her, hey, like, who's that? You know, because I would hear these certain, you know, how they would preach or a certain word that they were giving, and I'd be like, ooh, that's good, you know. And at this time, I'm still not in my Bible. Like, I wasn't really, I didn't know how to read the Bible. I didn't understand it. So I was just more so just listening. And so I was asking my mom, like, oh, who are you listening to, you know? And then I started picking up on the people that she was listening to. So I'm just getting fed during this time, and I'm just at dialysis.
During this 2 years.
Yeah. And I'm at this dialysis clinic, and now I'm at the point where I'm like, if I have to go to this dialysis clinic another time, I am going to, like, pull my hair out, you know? I just, even sitting there for 3 hours, it was just grueling, you know? And so I was like, I just can't do this, you know? And then I'd be praying in the chair. I would have my noise canceling headphones in, and I would put on those ministers and just listen to them. And then I had other podcasts too that I was listening to. So just really in a season of
receiving.
Just listening to the Lord and being fed so much by these ministers. And so my faith was just really amping up too, because I just knew that the Lord was gonna, he promised me, you will live and you won't die.
Right.
And so I am like, okay, I'm holding on to this, because I had a will to live too. I wasn't full.
Your will was in agreement with God's spoken word.
Yeah. And so I was holding on to that with all of me. And I was just praying and just keeping in faith, even though in that time, man, it was so much. And you know, these like 2019 the breakup, 2020 feet split open,
Plus
and
2020
yeah,
with COVID
yes,
and all the
COVID,
shutdowns. Yeah.
everything was going
Right.
crazy. And then
Right.
2021,
Mhm.
right after my feet healed,
Mhm.
now I have sepsis
Mm.
and peritonitis
Mm.
on my deathbed, and now I'm in hemodialysis.
Mhm.
And so I was just like, okay, this is enough for me. But just kept praying, being faithful, and holding on to that promise that God gave me. And sure enough, in 2024,
Mhm.
in January, I remember getting a call um, from the hospital that I was going to get a transplant through. Um, and they called and said that there was a donor that came up. And I was like, what? You know, and this was at 7 p.m. So here I am, I get this call, and they're telling me, okay, you got to be here tomorrow morning. You know, you got to drive down. So I drive down and wake up in the morning because I spent the night there too. So I woke up in the morning and spent all day just in my hospital room. And I was like, what's going on? You know, but also praying only that the Lord's will be.
Right.
And-
You've rejected a liver before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this transplant comes up. I'm in the hospital and I'm just like, hey, Lord, your will, not mine. And if this is the correct kidney for me,
Or
let it.
Sorry.
You're good.
Yeah.
Let it go through.
Mm-hmm.
But if it's not the one for me, take it away.
Mm-hmm.
Don't allow it to enter my body. You know, I've already been through enough. You know, I'll wait a little longer, right? So then it was a false alarm. And they were like, wound up coming in my room and pretty much telling me, this isn't the kidney. It's not as good as we thought it was going to be. And you're young. You know, we just want to have a good kidney that's strong enough. So I was completely fine with it, even though that disappointment was still there.
Sure.
Of, you know, it's not over yet, you
Right.
know. So I go back home and I'm waiting. Well, meanwhile, my sister was testing for me to be able to get her kidney. And all of a sudden now we're getting the calls about she's cleared and that she can give me her kidney. So much different process with a living donor versus the deceased donor. So now we get the calls and we're setting a date for when the surgery is going to take place. And it was set for January 25th of 2024. So here I am at dialysis. And then I now know that I'm getting a kidney. So I'm going to dialysis like, I gotta get out of here. I like have like ants in my pants. I need to get out of this chair. And I already know this is like, I can't do this anymore. I'm done here. I'm done. It's done. It's finished. Like the Lord answered. So that just got a little harder. But then sure enough, we go that day or that night before, get a hotel, and then in the morning me and my sister go in and get all prepped for the surgery, and we wound up having the same room together in the PACU. So I was just sitting there so grateful. But on the other end of it was interesting. I experienced looking at my sister like, I actually don't want her to go in. I don't want her to do it, you know, because it scared me, you know, and I just was like, Lord, I know you got her and I know you got me. So then she got wheeled in, I went in, and then we came out and I had my sister's kidney, and the Lord blessed me after 10 whole years on dialysis. And this moment just like changed everything. And here I am in the hospital. I have this brand new kidney in me and I'm off of dialysis. And I just didn't even, I mean, it was so amazing, you know. And that process with my sister too, I was so grateful to experience that with her, because that made our bond much stronger. And so, yeah, I just was like, Lord, you showed up, and you're true and faithful, you know, and your words stand true. Like, they don't fall void, you know. And I was, yeah. So with that happening, I'm now 2 years with this transplant, and it's so successful. And the medications I have, everything correct. Like the Lord laid it all out. Everything is correct this time around, and I'm feeling so incredible in my body now that like I don't even know how to express the excitement for it. But so many doors have opened since now of like my freedom coming back, you know, of the Lord just being like, yeah, it's your time now, you know. So I actually just finished school for dental assisting. So I'm a dental assistant now, which is still like so crazy to me. I'm like, what in the world? How did we get here, Lord? But he's so faithful. And so just doors opening up and freedom, being able to actually experience things and have a more normal life, you know, because that was all that I wanted. It's all that I wanted. And the Lord knew, and he had a plan for it the whole time. So it's been the craziest journey, but
So
I'm
good.
here.
No more dialysis.
Yeah, no more after 10 years.
Yeah.
Crazy. So
Oh.
I just am now, I just am like, Lord, I know too much to not believe, you know.
Right.
I've seen it, I've experienced him in such a way that I know that I know. And I look back at all of that stuff and just like, I could see every little detail where he was along the way, you know, whether it was a person he was placing in my path that was with the Lord. And so now I'm just walking faithfully with the Lord, and I'm not even fully there yet. Like, I'm still just barely getting into the Bible and having him guide me and giving me revelation with the Holy Spirit to actually guide me through, to have understanding and bringing me into the right groups of people. And I'm going to church now and I love it. The community, you know, because that's also too one of the things I prayed for after is like, I need community, you know, I need community so bad because what I'm going through is just so much, you know. And so I prayed about that, and the Holy Spirit, I remember, downloaded into me of like, you need to go on Google Maps. And I looked up all of the churches in the vicinity. And so I was clicking on each little pin and then going to their website and watching if they had sermons that they would film. You know, I was just reading what they believed in. And I remember just clicking on this one church, and the Lord just put it on me like, that's the one, because they were actually doing a sermon that they had recorded, and it was on the gift of healing and that it's still here, you know, and a lot of us don't believe it's here anymore, you know. So that's how I got involved in church. And yeah, I just knew, I'm like, nope, okay. So started going to church and getting in my Bible, and ever since, now the Lord has been so faithful to bring me into groups of people that are believers, and I'm learning from them and just honestly surrendering everything that is my will, that I thought, oh, I'm in control, I'm going to do this is what I want, into just surrendering it to the Lord. And it's been nothing but amazing to watch him work in my life, even through all of that. But then now on the other side of knowing him, I just am, I don't even know the words to put it together of what I feel, just like massive gratitude, but also to the blessing of being able to know Christ.
Right.
And the responsibility that we have as believers as well, to do our part to get to know him and become close with him. Not only just for benefits, you know, like of what he can do for you, or, you know, because it's not about that. It's about relationship with him and loving our neighbors, you know, and showing up for our brothers and sisters, you know, and keep our eyes on him, because he's the one that's in control of everything. It's not up to us. It's not for us to have control over, you know. So I'm just now walking into that even more, and now I'm healthy, and
It's
now
amazing.
yeah, it truly is. And now I'm a dental assistant, and now I'm going into dental hygiene, which is what I've wanted to do since middle school, and that's the goal. So now I'm 28, sitting here, and I'm like feeling like I'm running out of time, you know. But I also too know that the Lord's timing is
Right.
exactly on time. And so just having faith in that and seeing the fruits of me waiting and being obedient, but also not giving up, because the Lord really, really, really is here for us. And he shows up no matter what, because he has a plan for each one of our lives, you know. And even if we think it's so bad, you know, we're just standing there like, I'm done. Like, I'm tired. I don't know what this is for. You know, like, why is this even happening to me?
Right.
You know, why am I experiencing this? Why is this hard? It's like, you just keep going and having faith in the Lord, he'll get you through. And he shows up. Like, that's just what it is. He's there and he's showing up. But he wants us to also reach out, you know, and do our part to get to know him better. So I'm excited for the journey ahead too, and with this transplant, and I know it's going to be successful, and it's already so strong, and the medications, everything is perfect. And his timing, even with me going through to the second transplant, losing my first one, I mean, it was devastating, but even the second one, I'm like, there was a reason. There was a reason in that too, and a lot of lessons. So I'm grateful, you know, even for the hard stuff that I had to experience.
It's awesome. So he gave you, like, I'm thinking of when you can't even see and you're in the hospital and all of that. And he's like, what did he say? You're going to be okay.
Yeah. You're going to be okay. And you're going to make it out.
And you're going to make it out. And I recognized in your talking, you're like, I will live.
Yes.
Reminds me of that scripture. Yeah. I will live and declare the works of the Lord, right?
Amen. Yeah.
And just hanging on to his words and his specific promises for you. You, like, we're all done with fear of death, right?
Yeah.
And you know, it's only been a couple of years and all of that, but I know those aren't just for crisis times, right?
Yeah.
Like the word, he gives us things to hang on to and promises that he highlights and things to speak out and to hold on to and everything. And I just wondered, do you continue to see that and practice that?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, how can I not?
No, tell me.
It's like, I literally, what the Lord's done in my life has blessed me immensely at this point, where I want more of him, even though I've kind of faltered here and there, even, you know, just with whether being excited about school and then going all in with that and being like, Lord, you know, like not getting in the Bible as much. And that's the Lord's conviction as well. Like,
right.
Hey, I want to know you still don't walk away,
right.
you know?
Right.
But he's grabbing my attention constantly,
yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
And so I am surrendering it all and just trying to seek him out more every day and praying. Like, I pray all the time now. I love praying and I get excited to pray. But now I'm working on actually being vocal in groups. I guess I'm still shy.
Oh, you've done wonderfully here.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So just declaring his glory. I want him to get all the glory for it all. Because it's only him that I actually made it through all of that.
Right.
And even in the times that I thought, oh, that was me. No, it was not. Because, he's created our bodies to be so strong. But the spirit and your soul and everything that's on the inside and the flesh, right, on the outside, it wants to tell a different story, you know? For me, it's like, you know, going through that experience of even the small moments now of like, oh, when I think it's me in control, that's when things go wrong, you know? So it's super important to me now, and that's where my eyes are fixed now, on the Lord and just chasing after him.
So cool.
Yeah. And I'm excited to see what he has for the rest of the time.
So, Madison, if you were if someone were curious to know about Jesus and they hadn't heard of him, like how you grew up, right? And they just didn't have the concept of God or anybody pointing them to him. What do you want to tell me about who Jesus is? Or what would you like to tell someone who doesn't know him? What would you like to tell them about who he is?
First, just explaining his compassion and love, and it's like his unfailing and relentlessness of his love, his compassion, and his want and desires for us that are good. He's a good God. Like, he's faithful through all things. It doesn't matter. There's nothing too big for the Lord. There's nothing too big for him. And even when we think like, oh, this is impossible, like, look at my situation. Look at where I'm at. I'm in this hospital bed. I'm dying because this infection is killing me, because my body can't go through this. Like, you can't have that many toxins built up, you know? Oh, this is the end, you know? Or I'm drowning now because I can't breathe because I'm on dialysis, you know? And there's so much fluid. It's like, no, there's nothing too much for God. And he will hold you up and in, like, right standing, or what's the word? He will keep you because he wants to keep you. And he'll be with you through it all. And his love is just, I don't know, I don't even know all the words. Like, there's too many to just say how to describe the Lord, you know. He's just all good, all faithful. Yeah.
Good. Well, thank you so much for sharing what you've seen and heard of Jesus. And I really enjoyed our time together.
Yeah.
And thank you.
Yeah,
All
I've
right.
enjoyed this as well. Thank you so much.
All right.